So holding Maseches Chullin, tractate Chullin, Perek Shlishi, the third chapter. The name of the chapter is Eilu Tereifus. We ended off yesterday. If someone was a baki, if someone was an expert in identifying the peres and the oznia, the two birds mentioned in the Torah, and in identifying all the birds that go by their names, then the law is that any bird that comes before him, he is the examiner, the bird is coming before him, possessing only one sign of kosher, only one sign of kashrus, but not the other three signs. The other four signs are not there. And then he knows that he's not called peres and oznia. He knows that this bird that he's examining, it's not peres and it's not oznia. Toher is presumed kosher. So he has one sign, but he knows that it's not peres and oznia. Now, but if one was not expert in identifying them, and in identifying all the birds that go by their names, it has only one kosher sign, it's tomeh, it's impure, and if it has two kosher signs, it's toher. Provided that he can recognize an oirev, which is a raven or crow. Oirev is suloi. The Gemara says, is it sufficient just to recognize the oirev? What about all the other types of birds? He doesn't have to identify them or recognize them. Vatanya, oirev. So when scriptures list oirev among the non-kosher birds, ze oirev leminai. This is reference to the common oirev, the common raven. When scripture adds according to its kind, leminoi, it means that certain birds are kind to the oirev, or similar to the oirev, are also non-kosher. To what does this refer? It comes to include the zarzir. Zarzir is also a type of a bird which has the same number of kosher signs as an oirev, as a non-kosher. Rabbi Lezer, they said to Rabbi Lezer, but the people of Kfar Tamarto in Yehuda used to eat them. Why they ate them? As we said, because they have a crop. Indeed, they will ultimately stand in judgment before the heavenly tribunal for doing so. So the zefek, having the crop, is not sufficient. Another interpretation is leminoi or leminehu lovis nunis levana. The phrase, according to its kind, comes to include white sinunis, which has the same number of kosher signs as the oirev, as a non-kosher bird. Div Rabbi Lezer. So they said to Rabbi Lezer, the people of the upper Galilee ate the snunis. Why they ate the snunis levano? Because because its gizzard can be peeled. So he said to him, indeed, they will ultimately stand in judgment before the heavenly tribunal for doing so. It emerges from this baisa that besides the common oirev, there are other non-kosher birds possessing two kosher signs each, and they're still not kosher. The question that we have is, how can Rav Nachman permit a person who recognizes only a common oirev to eat an unknown bird possessing two kosher signs? The guy has to identify other things beside the common oirev. Ela oirev v'chol min oirev. Rather than Rav Nachman means that one must be familiar with the common oirev and also with the entire category of birds that are of the type of oirev. Amar Ameimah. Ameimah said, Ilcheso, the halacha is that even if one is not expert, at identifying a peres or oznia, someone is not expert in identifying them, a bird that comes before him possessing only one characteristic of kosher birds is presumed kosher. Is provided that it does not claw. It does not claw, it does not kill its prey with its nails, with its hands. Rav Ashi said to Rav Nachman, what is your response to that ruling of Rav Nachman that one may not permit a bird on the basis of a single kosher sign unless he is expert at identifying the peres and the ozniya? Ameimah replies, Amar le lo yishmi'a li. I have not heard of Rav Nachman's ruling, klomar lo yisavir li, as if to say, I do not agree with it. Ma'ika, what concern is there when a person who is not expert in the ornithology finds a bird possessing a single kosher sign? The problem we have is mishum peres ve'oznia, only for the possibility that this is a peres or an oznia. Lisnu be'yeshuv, the peres and oznia are not found in inhabited regions, and therefore we need not consider the possibility that it is one of these birds.
Ornithology is the study of birds.
Right.
Rabbi, Arab is not kosher. Isn't that because it was cursed in the flood?
No,
it was one of the animals was cursed.
It was cursed to lose its voice, but not. It was always non-kosher.
Right. They lose to his voice and not having babies from the normal way, only out of his mouth.
Okay. Okay. I know, but it's nothing to do with kashrus. It was never kosher.
So obviously
it was never kosher. It says
but
that
it does has something.
It says from the kosher they had 7 on the ark. From the non-kosher they had 2. So Erev was 2. The idea is that someone has to identify it to know what it is.
Okay.
If you're a rabbi and somebody gives you a bird and you say, can I eat it or I cannot eat it? So you check the kosher signs. There's 4 kosher signs. If it has one kosher sign, so the Gemara says it's kosher, you can declare it kosher but you have to be an expert in the
All the other
on the study of birds. Ornithology.
You have to find a rabbi that's a monk in birds.
Right. So Amar Yehuda of Hamesaret Kasher Letaras Metzero. The bird that scratches his feet for use in the purification process of Metzero. What does it mean? It says in 17, a Metzera, upon being called of his tsaras affliction, must bring 2 kosher birds to the temple, right? In 17, it says he has to bring a Metzora, his leopard has to bring after the 2 weeks of quarantine. And the whole process, he brings now 2 birds, 2 kosher birds to the temple to be used in a purification procedure. Describes in Leviticus chapter 14. Although scripture does not specify which type of kosher bird should be used for this procedure, the Mishnah states that it is deroer. Deroer literally means freedom. This is a bird that lives freely even in a house, eluding capture by flying from corner to corner. Rashi in his commentary to Proverbs and Tegittin identifies the deroer as Arendelle, which as explained in note 11, is the swallow. The bird that scratches is the swallow. Rabbi Yehuda means that this is the only bird that may be used for purification of a metzora. Other explains the term deroer does not refer to a particular species, but to any small kosher bird that lives freely even in a house. Rabbi Yehuda means that bird that scratches The swallow is among those that are fit for the purification of Metzora. This particular bird qualifies as the royal because it scratches in order to avoid capture. So if you catch it, you have to wear gloves to make sure you're not being scratched, because it will scratch you.
Eagle?
It will scratch you.
What
No,
about
the eagle
you
is
have to wear gloves all the time.
any vultures you have to wear gloves, but eagle is not a kosher bird.
No. Are you talking only about kosher bird that you have to wear a glove if you want to?
No, in this case, not all kosher birds you have to wear a glove. If you're catching a dove or pigeon, you don't have to wear a glove.
Right.
But if you're catching a deroyer, you have to wear
This
a
is the
glove.
swallow.
This is what?
Swallow.
Olive?
No, this is called swallow. This is snunit.
That's no need.
Amar Rav Yehuda,
Beautiful.
Like an airplane.
Amar Rav Yehuda, Oif HaMesoret Kosher L'Taras HaMetzora. So a bird that scratches his feet is good for the purification process of the Metzora. Metzora can use it for his purification process. It doesn't say he eats it. It says he can use it for his purification process. V'zohi snunis levono shenechleku vo Rabbi Elazar v'chachomim. And this is the white snunis regarding which Rabbi Elazar and the sages disagreed as to its permissibility. Rabbi Elazar Chachomim argued whether it's kosher or not. Amar Ameimar b'chevro kreiso, regarding the snunit, whose belly is actually white, has a white belly. Kula amo lepligi deshaya, all agree that it is permitted. Ki pligi, when Rabbi Elazar and the sages disagree, bediyur kakereisa, regarding the one whose belly is yellow, then they have machloket whether it's kosher or not. Rabbi Elazar also, Rabban show Rabbi Elazar forbids the bird with the yellow belly, and the sages said it's kosher. Ve'ilcheso ke Rabbi Elazar, and the halacha follows Rabbi Elazar, who forbids it. It's if you look at number 20, it says this ruling is inconsistent with the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda, who ruled in accordance with the sages that the white snunis, which now understand to be the yellow-bellied one, is fit for purification of Metzora. So Rabbi Elazar says it's asu, and halacha follows Rabbi Elazar. Mar Zutra Masnei Achi. Mar Zutra reported Ameima's purification of the dispute, qualification of the dispute as follows. Bediyurka kereisa, regarding the snunis whose belly is yellow. Kula amo lepligi deosir. Rabbi Elazar and the rabbis all agree that it's asur, that it's forbidden. You cannot use it to purify the Metzora. I'm not talking about eating. Purifying the Metzora, you are not allowed to eat it, purifying the leopard. But the chivro kereiso, it is regarding the one whose belly is actually white that they have a machloket. Rabbi Elazar also, Rabbanon show, Rabbi Elazar forbids it, and the sages permit it. Ve'ilchasa ke Rabbanon the show, and the halacha follows the sages who permit the white belly bird. Bishlam alaman de'omar bechivro kereiso peligi. It is understandable according to the one who said that Rabbi Elazar and the rabbis disagree regarding the snunis whose belly is white. Hainu de kesoni zohi senunis levano. This is why the Brisa teaches that their dispute pertains to the white senunis. But according to the one who says that they disagree regarding the one whose belly is yellow, why does it say it's white snunis? Doesn't make sense. If it's yellow belly, why are you calling it white? So it says this Brisa means to distinguish it from the house snunis, which is completely black. So a house snunis is completely black, and the pasuk wants to distinguish it. But in reality, he wants to tell us that it's not white, rather it's yellow. And it says in 23, the house senunis is called because its nest and crevices in the walls of a building. This completely black bird is surely forbidden. The Gemara cites another ruling by Rabbi Yehuda relating to the fitness of certain birds for offering. Amar Rachava, Amar Rabbi Yehuda. Rachava said in the name of Rabbi Yehuda, Tosil, the Tosil, I guess also a name of a bird, Pasul mishum toirin is unfit for the sacrifice under the criteria of torin. It's not torin. It's not under. It's not a pigeon or a dove. V'chosher mishum bnei yoina, and it is fit for sacrifice under the criteria of young pigeon. So tosil is good. It can be considered young pigeon. Why? The atzifei v'sorin shel rechova. The atzifei and plaza torin. What is plaza torin? So it says in 26. These are names of different species of bird in the tor family. Tor family is the pigeon family, the dove family. Remember, we learned that one is the toirin were undomesticated pigeons, and the doves were domesticated one. Those who used to migrate in the winter and go back in the summer, they travel all the time. So the Gemara says,
The snowbirds.
right, snowbirds. Ksherim mishum terin are fit for sacrifice under the criteria of torin, ufsulim mishum bnei yoina, and are unfit for sacrifice under the criteria of young pigeons. The first part of Rabbi Yehuda's ruling, that the tosil is a type of pigeon, is challenged. Moser Rav Daniel bar Rav Ketina challenged him on the basis of the following Mishnah: Kol ha'ifes, all birds, psulin or poislin mei chatos, invalidate chatos water by drinking from it. Let's look at number one. Chatos water is the water in which ashes of red cow, paraduma, have been mixed. This water is used to purify people and objects from tumas mace, corpse tuma. If the water is drunk by a bird, it is disqualified from being used as chatas water. It's no longer good for chatas water because a bird normally drinks by scooping up water in its lower beak, and in its lower beak, and then lifting its mouth back into the vessel. Since the bird initially took the water to drink, it is considered like water with which work has been done, i.e., that has been used for some other purpose, which is unfit for use in the purification process. And since this water is mixed into the waters remaining in the vessel, it disqualifies all the water. Okay? Chutz min hayoino, except for the pigeon, mipnei shemotzetzes, because it sucks up the water and does not dribble any back into the vessel.
Dribble is to
Bring back. Ve'i miso. It's like in the world of basketball, you're dribbling the ball, it goes back and forth. It doesn't stop. Right? So if usually a bird it lowers his head, it takes water, and then it raises his head. So water goes back. Water that he took, they're going back into. Some of it goes back.
Okay.
It says the pigeon is drinking differently. It sucks the water. It doesn't raise his head up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, the donkey sucks the water, a lot of animals sucks the water.
Right.
Those
birds. But this
We are on birds
but
now.
pigeon has the same thing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Birds don't do that.
So
Birds, they go like they go down.
Rabbi Zera said, "Ze moitzitz umeki."
Kosher, you know,
This
no?
one sucks up water and then expels some of it. V'ze moitzitz ve'eno meki. While that one, the pigeon, sucks up water and does not expel any of it. Does not expel any of it. Omar Rabbi Yehuda, ane kufshani tzutzione ksherim legab hamizbeach. The tutzione, toirin, it's a type of birds, a type of pigeons, are fit for being offered on the altar. Ve'hein hein toirin shel rechava, and they are identical with the plaza toirin mentioned earlier. The Gemara questions Rav Yehuda's ruling. Meisivei. Rabbi Yehuda's ruling said that tzutzione ksherim, that this type of birds are kosher. Meisive, they challenged this on the basis of the following Mishnah. Ezov, when the Torah states that we must use ezov, right? Velo ezov yon. It implies ordinary ezov and not ezov yon. Velo ezov kochali, nor blue ezov. Velo ezov romi, nor Roman ezov. Velo midbari, nor desert ezov. Now, in general, ezov, it's a bush. It's a small bush. Velo kol ezov sheyesh lo shem levai. Nor any other ezov that has a modifying name, meaning that has another name. Ezov this, ezov that, ezov yon, ezov kochali, ezov romi, ezov midbari. By the same token, since the Torah states Torin are fit for the altar, we should say it means only simple Torin. The moment that you say Torin Tzutziani, it's not good because you have other names. Amar Abaye, kol shenishtana shmo kodem matan Torah, any species whose name was modified before the giving of the Torah, v'ikpida Torah, the Torah was specific about its name, mentioning only the name of the common variety of that species. Yesh lo shem levai pasul. If it has any modifying name, it is unfit, because it is excluded by the Torah's usage of the unmodified name. V'hani lo nishtanu shman kodem matan Torah. The names of these birds, Tzutziane Torin, however, that's the Rabbi Yehuda's defense. He says that these birds, their name was not changed. However, when their names were not modified before the giving of the Torah, and they were then known simply as Torin, they are therefore included in the scriptural specification of Torin.
Rabbi, do we eat pigeons?
You're allowed to.
Allowed to, but we don't eat, yeah?
There's not much to eat. Very little meat. There's
Little
not.
bit, little bit.
So,
But some
that's
pigeons
why.
are big, Rabbis, very huge. So you got a little
Those
bit
are
more.
quails already. Quails, Slav.
get שמנים ביניהם. אוכלים הרבה.
She's very fair to see all the birds.
I guess it's not cost effective, so they don't. You have to catch them, you have to raise them, and it's easier. It's easier to. It's
But it's not
easier
a clean
to.
animal. Is it animal not so
It's not clean.
Pigeon.
Like a
It's very
chicken.
clean.
There's a video online, a guy takes
When
the
it comes
bread
to
of
eat,
a
it's
fish,
clean.
goes to
Come
the
for
parking lot,
people.
hides behind the pole, he puts
Lights.
the bread seed, all the
Lights.
pigeons, he
Is
throws
there
it,
that spread lights?
A
and
net.
they all try to fly, but a lot of, a whole bunch of, takes the whole bunch, maybe like 20,
Very
throws it in his
clean.
trunk and drives off. You don't know
How
what
would
he's
you
going
eat
to
any
do with
bird?
them, but
Other than
Not
in
in
Florida.
When Noah
Maybe eats them.
sent the bird, there's the pigeon.
and then a dove.
Then the dove.
Maybe there's different kind of pigeons.
My uncle once caught a lot of them, and he shechted them, and they ate them. You're allowed to.
Yeah.
You have to know how to shecht them because it's very. Their neck is very small. You don't want to cut their head off. You got to make sure you only cut the simonim, the esophagus, and
Okay.
the trachea,
Tree.
and that's it. And if you're doing a little too much, you cut the head.
Go
And then
and
it's not
the
kosher.
esophagus is going all the way
if
from
you
the
cut
head
the
down
whole head off,
anyway.
it's not kosher?
אז איפה שלא תחתוך תערוך את הספר.
No, the idea
If
is
you
not
do
to
it
cut
the
the
right
whole
way, what does
head.
it matter?
Nail was a special.
תעלה יותר מדי למעלה.
But anyways, eventually.
You're going right and left, but
The
if
head
you're doing
itself,
too much, you're cutting the whole head.
It's pasul.
But why? I
Very
don't
little.
understand.
לאט לאט.
If you're doing shchita and then it's kosher and then you just keep cutting the head off,
Then it comes straight.
It's straight.
how does that make sense? You're gonna cut the head off anyways after when you cook it. And
Right, but when the life goes out, the lifeblood of the bird comes out of the bird. It has to be done in such a way. You can't even pause. If you pause in between, it's not kosher.
in between the cuts, yeah.
Yeah, if you did one and then you paused to go back,
Yeah, that I
the
understand.
reverse motion, and you stopped, you waited, it's not kosher also.
But the whole thing with the head coming off, once you sever those two, it's considered like it's dead.
Right, the Torah has all its reasons why they didn't want the animal to suffer that time. The backbone, if you you shouldn't touch the backbone. The backbone is the spine. You can't touch the spine. If you touch the spine, it's not kosher. Rav Omar Ani Kufshoni Tzutzioni Basra Stomo Koreleu. The Tzutzione Torin are called Torin unmodified in their own place. In Tzutzian, it's a name of a place. This indicates that the term Tutsinite or Tutsione is not a modifier, but simply a description of the origin. They are therefore included by Scripture's use of the term Torin. So they are Torin, it's just that they come from this place. Those grasshoppers that are found among the rushes are permitted for consumption, for they belong to kosher species. But those that are found in cabbage patches are forbidden, for they belong to the non-kosher species. There was a picture before of the grasshopper. And we impose lashes on account of eating them. Someone eats them, is liable to lashes because they are covered by the scriptural prohibition of flying, swarming creatures. The tzerodo is permitted, for it is a kosher bird. Bardo osir, but the bardo is forbidden, it's non-kosher. V'simonich bar minei, and you're mnemonic to remember which of the two is non-kosher, is the expression of bar minei, which is a reminiscent of barda, and means excluding it. Barda alludes, be excluded from us. Mardo sfeiko, the status of marda is questionable. The Gemara discussed numerous birds whose status is questionable. We're not sure what they are. Amar Avasi Shmoyin sfeikos, and there are 8 questionable cases. Chuva, chuga, suga, varnuga, tushlemi, umarda, kuchlina, uvarnafcha. All these names, we have a question whether they are kosher or not. So what is the reason for the questionable status? Ofot teorim kurkevanani klaf. We learned that the gizzards of kosher birds, you are able to peel the gizzard. If you open the gizzard to two, you have a layer that you can peel off. Utmein ein kurkevanani klaf, and the gizzards of non-kosher birds cannot be peeled. Now all these names of birds that we mentioned, chuva, anuga, suga, kuchlina, nafra, their gizzards can be peeled off. So why is it a doubt? Why you have a question regarding their kashrus?
These are pictures of 6 of them.
Beautiful, beautiful. Some of them are very common in Florida. Like this one, I see it in the lakes.
Your lake?
In the lakes, so you see it.
Wow. And what's the name of them?
So you have different names. Kuchla, Muda.
Wow.
So they have what I guess the common characteristic is that their gizzard can be peeled.
Maybe it's in your book, David.
And if the gizzard can be peeled, it's a kosher sign. There was a certain young duck in the house of Mar Shmuel, the lava kamiklav kurkevne, whose gizzard could not be peeled. Mar Shmuel placed it in the sun, and once it softened, it peeled. We see that even the gizzard of a kosher bird, such as a duck, cannot always be peeled without difficulty. You have to put it in the sun to peel it. Why should there be any question as to the status of the 8 birds whose gizzard must be peeled with a knife? The Gemara says, there in the case of Mar Shmuel's duck, Kirafi iklif biyado, at least once the gizzard softened, it could be peeled by hand. Hacha, here in the case of the 8 questionable birds that we mentioned, Afal gav the Rafi, even when the gizzard is softened, loy miklif ela b'sakino, and the only way to peel it is with a knife. Even if it's softened, you can only peel it with a knife, and that's why it's questionable, because it doesn't peel easily, and even when it's ready to go, it softens. You have to use a knife. The Gemara clarifies that the identity of one of the 8 birds whose status is questionable. Well, Amar Abaye, Tarnegoilo da'ag mochad v'shmeinu sfeikasu. The swamp cock is one of the is one of the 8 questionable birds. V'hainu mardu, and this is the mardu mentioned above. The Gemara discusses this and a related bird. Amar Papa Tarnegoilo da'ag ma'asiro. The swamp cock is forbidden because of the question as to its status. Tarnegol to da'ag ma'sharya, but the swamp hen is permitted. V'simonich amuni v'lo amoinis. And you're menamenik to remember which of the 2 is non-kosher is the dictum: a male Ammonite is forbidden, but not a female Ammonite. Dorash mereima, the preceding ruling is overturned by a later sage. Dorash mereima lecture tarnegol to da'ag ma'asiro. The swamp hen is forbidden, although it was originally thought to be kosher. As Rav Papa stated, Chazio the dorso ve'ochlo. Why? Because they later observed it clawing its food and eating it, so they prohibited it. V'ainu geiruso, and the swamp hen is the same bird as a geiruso. Omarav shovur andarpeto shori. The shovur andarpeto is permitted. Peruz andarpeto also, but the peruz andarpeta is forbidden. V'simonech Peruz Rashio, and you're menamenik to remember which of andarpetas of these birds is non-kosher. Peruz the wicked. You have to remember Peruz the wicked. Peruz was a well-known villain in Talmudic times.
He was a Persian ruler that killed many people.
Yeah.
And he was a Zoroastrian.
I still think till today there's a city name in Persia, in Iran, called Peruz, something like that. Amar Ravuna bunya shori, the bunya is permitted. Parvo osir, parvo is forbidden. And the way to remember it, in your menamenik, v'simonich parvo amegusha, parvo the sorcerer. Parvo the sorcerer. If you look at 26, interesting, it says Parvo was a sorcerer who built a chamber in the temple that was named Beis HaParvo.
Oh yeah.
And Beis HaParvo was built after him. It's one of the chambers in Beis HaMikdash. They named the chamber for this person only after he abandoned his practice of sorcery. Otherwise, they would not have perpetuated the name of a serious sinner. In any event, he initially achieved notoriety through the forbidden practice of sorcery, so his name is reminiscent of prohibition. That's how he became famous, for being a sorcerer. Omar of Papa Mardu Zogid V'ochil Shori. The Mardu that stands erect and eats is permitted. Sogid V'ochil Osir. The Mardu that bends down and eats is forbidden. V'simonech. And your menamenik is, your way to remember it, it says, Lo yisishtacha v'le'elacher. You shall not bow down to an alien god. Omar Shmuel Shasyu Chamra Asiro. The wine drinker is forbidden. V'simonech shesuye yaim psul la'avodah. Your menamenik is the law that Kohanim who have drunk wine are unfit for the temple service. Omar Shmuel Mazgu Chamra Asiro. The wine mixer is forbidden. Bas Mozgo Chamro Shario. But the wine mixer's daughter is permitted. V'simonech yofi koyach ben mikoyachav, and you menamenik for this is the Tanoic teaching: a son's power is better than the power of the father himself.
You know, there's a bird called the moorhen. Menashe, you know the bird called the moorhen?
It's over here. It says this is the name of a different bird than the wine mixer. I guess the wine mixer is also a title they gave these birds. It says in number 2 that Baisa refers to the son's power to collect a debt he inherited from his father, and means that he has certain legal advantages that the father did not enjoy. In any event, it serves as an aid to remember that in regard to kosherness, the wine mixer's daughter is superior to the wine mixer. The daughter is permitted, whereas the parent is not. Continue, God willing, tomorrow.
Look at this.